Hello everyone, and welcome to another short video from our Bible Prophecy Bites series that help our viewers to understand key biblical prophecies that point to the soon return of Jesus Christ. My name is Steve Monette, and I will be your host for today. As you know, many people are hoping for the return of Jesus in the very near future, and so am I. But does the Word of God prove that Jesus will return soon? Well, I believe that the answer is yes, especially when the Word of God is harmonized with historical documents and current events. This trifecta combination is what I call Bible prophecy convergence. And since the year 2017, we have seen events happen so fast that it seems that the day of the Lord is right around the corner. So for today's video, I want to talk about a pattern of time found in the Old Testament that seems to be repeating itself in modern-day Israel, and possibly pointing to the return of Jesus in 2018. Knowing that our God is a God of order, I was recently looking at the story of the 70 years of Babylon captivity that the Israelites were sentenced to for not following God's commandments. What I found during my study was a pattern that is nearly identical to a pattern that is playing out today. In 606 BC, the head of Babylon's armies, Nebuchadnezzar, attacked Jerusalem and took Daniel and many others back to Babylon. 19 years later, in 587 BC, now as King Nebuchadnezzar, he returned to attack again, and this time destroyed the temple and brought another round of captives back to Babylon. 25 years after the first attack, in 581 BC, he returned again and brought back the few remaining Israelites living in Jerusalem. 70 years later, after the first attack, the captives began returning back to Jerusalem, and once in the city, a time of restoration began as God promised in the book of Jeremiah. Part of this restoration included the rebuilding of the temple. So here is the pattern. Starting from the date of the first attack in 606 BC, we have 19 years, 25 years, and then 70 years, and then the rebuilding of the temple. Believe it or not, this very same pattern is actually being played out today in Israel. On May 14, 1948, Israel became a nation in the eyes of the world. And this was the first time that Israel was not ruled by an invading army since the year 606 BC. This was a momentous and historical period in time. And 19 years later, in the year 67, Israel reclaimed the city of Jerusalem during the Six-Day War. 25 years later, in 1973, Israel successfully gained even more land during the Yom Kippur War. 70 years later, in 2018, Israel celebrated its 70th anniversary as an independent nation. Do you see the pattern again? 19 years, 25 years, and then 70 years. The only part of the pattern left to repeat itself is the rebuilding of the temple. Now, are we talking about a temple constructed from brick and mortar, or are we talking about the return of Messiah, the temple? I will let you ponder that question. So do you think this is all a coincidence? What are the chances of two repeating time patterns occurring 2,500 years apart, relating only to the nation of Israel and the temple of the living God? Is that coincidence? I'll let you decide that. So that will do it for today. If there be any questions, follow the Bible's advice and prove all things to yourself, and continue studying in the matter. If you believe Jesus will return soon, and the evidence seems to prove it, then I would encourage you to spread the message of salvation to anyone you know that isn't saved. The time may be very short. And if there be any questions, think on these things. And may God bless you and keep you until that day. Thanks for watching.